What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Burn Bootcamp podcast. I got Dr. Sonya Rissmiller in the building. All right, and from not only a sports medicine doctor, but a Burn Bootcamp Pineville OG member and what I would call an expert encourager to the over 50 crowd. And I'm so excited to have you here today. Welcome to the Burn Bootcamp podcast. How you feeling?
Great. It was a great workout you gave us.
Yeah, we just got done off the floor here. What was your favorite exercise out of that circuit? We did a conditioning camp today. We had a bunch of different movements. What was the one that got you fired up the most?
Well, the one I liked the most was the bear crawl push-up.
Yeah, the bear crawl push-ups.
The one that, they were all really hard. Probably the jumping over the hurdle and the ropes.
That's like the common answer when I ask members. I'm like, hey, what did you like? You're like, they're all really hard, but
yeah.
I like this one.
That's the whole point, though.
The bear crawl push-ups. Yeah, those are a good one. Those are a good ones. I'm excited to dive into your background, your story, and like what you're passionate about. I love talking to members just to bring forward the character of Pineville kind of through your lens. How long have you been here again?
I think it's been about 5 years.
It's been about 5 years since you're a member. Do you remember your first camp?
I do remember my first camp.
Explain to me what your first camp was like.
Well, first of all, I came in because I saw a 2-week free trial, and I get bored in my workout places, so I said, I'm going to try this. What the heck? It's 2 weeks free. And I came in thinking it was going to be easy. You know, it's a women's gym mostly, and I thought it was going to be kind of wussy, and I was pleasantly surprised. And I stayed for my 2 weeks, and I've been here ever since.
And you've been, before that, you've been a lifelong enthusiast, right? You've been kind of everywhere.
So I, from a very young age, actually, because of an injury in high school, started lifting weights early because that's all I could do, because I had a torn ACL, PCL, basically dislocated my knee. Playing soccer, had to be out for a year, started lifting weights, got into fitness, which also eventually led me to sports medicine.
Yeah.
But over the years have been just going to the gym and being a gym rat, lifting weights and doing some cardio, and then going to the old Gold's Gym.
Yeah.
Ric Flair's Gold Gym in South Park.
Oh, wow.
Used to be here.
Nice.
And
right, Ric Flair owned
the Gold's Gym in South Park. Yes.
Oh, wow.
And he would walk through there.
Nice.
Yeah. Do
Nice.
his little yell.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So
Woo.
did that.
That one.
Yes.
Woo. I can't do it. I just got done training at camp. My voice is gone. I can't even do it right now.
But between that and doing all the franchise stuff, between the younger people won't know what this is, the firm and Tybo with Billy Blanks and.
Did you ever do curves?
No.
Okay.
Isn't that for like old ladies?
Well, it was really at the time. It was like back then. It was like what Burn Bootcamp is today, the same demographic, and I think that's part of the reason why you have this connotation with, you know, a women's-centric gym not being very difficult or challenging or effective.
Right.
Largely is because, you know, and unfortunately, curves put that out into the world, and you know, and it was a great message. Like, come as you are and come whatever shape, whatever size, and just come in and work out. And we have that same message, but it's like when you get here, you know, we have goals, and we want you to have goals and be goal-oriented and to be results-oriented and to go after things. And so we basically took, like, if you think like of curves, the Y Center, and CrossFit, if those three things had like a baby, you'd get Burn Bootcamp.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what I think. I mean, I've always loved a challenging workout. The way that I was primarily, I guess, the most longevity I had was at the YMCA, and I do the athletic conditioning classes. But you know, there'd be one class on Monday at 11:30, and one class on Tuesday at 6:45 p.m. and you're all over the place, and then you don't know, that person doesn't know what the next day's person's going to do in a strength and conditioning class. So having the same workout throughout the entire day, it's so much easier here to get the upper body and the lower body and cardio and bursts and all of that stuff.
So from your perspective, when you think about like the difference between your experience here and your experience elsewhere, you have, obviously we have this methodology of, you know, putting a personal trainer inside of a group setting, somebody that's classically trained on kinesiology, anatomy, physiology, somebody who understands how those three different disciplines work together and the intersections of them to help people. And then you get this wide range of people, right? I know we're going to talk a lot about the 50 plus crowd today, where you get this wide range of people. Why do you think it's important? What were the differences between having that, you know, in the classic gym setting, it was like an instructor that would be on a stage and you'd almost be a mirror to that person, but they wouldn't really kind of be down. And what's the difference in results and whatever comes to mind for you?
I think, so you'd have, in the larger scenarios, you'd have an instructor with sometimes 75 people in a very large space, and they were a lot of times just doing the workout along with you. They weren't going around and, first of all, holding you accountable to what you're doing, watching your form, saying those dumbbells aren't heavy enough. First of all, they never had dumbbells that were heavy enough. So people are in there lifting 15-pound dumbbells for years and never going up, because there's nobody pushing you to do that. But I think having the trainers here, they know everybody's name, and they're coming up and helping you with form, and knowing that if you know your form, push you to the next level. So it's just, I think it's just more personal coaching and accountability.
What was the hook for you? Like when you were like, okay, you come into this new place, you've tried everything before.
Right.
You know, I would assume if you were to zoom me in at your mentality at that time, correct me if I'm wrong, it would probably be like, oh, it's just another gym. Like, what was your mentality at the time, and what hooked you here?
I think a hard workout. I want a hard workout. I can do a not hard workout on my own. I want somebody to push me. And the fact that you can do it in 45 minutes. So it's fairly close to my home. I get here, you're working out within 2 minutes, and it's a 45-minute, very efficient, no frills workout. And I used to think I had to spend, for instance, I mean, I've been to other venues, but it seemed like getting in there and parking and checking in, and then they're getting your own equipment out. It was an hour-and-a-half ordeal where I love the efficiency.
And you're a busy person too, right? So it's like, hey, I have to get in and get out. Talk to me about your career and your passion. So you're a sports medicine doctor. How long have you been? Where'd you go to school? Where'd you get your PhD, I'm assuming?
No, MD.
Oh, MD, okay.
Yeah, so I went to University of Virginia undergrad and then Medical College of Virginia.
Got it.
Med school. Did my residency at, it was Carolina's Medical Center. Now it's Atrium Health.
Okay. And
I've been there ever since. So
awesome.
I'm physical medicine and rehab doctor.
Okay.
But I've subspecialized in sports medicine as well.
So you deal with a lot of injuries?
I deal with a lot of injuries.
Okay. What are some of the common injuries that you see? Are you working with a specific type of crowd, or is it kind of come one, come all, and
I'm primarily seeing older athletes. I don't do the kids, the teenagers who require you to be at their Friday night football games.
Okay.
I don't do that.
Yeah.
But a lot of patients that are active and want to keep working out and trying to figure out ways that they can stay active and healthy. So I'm always pushing diet and exercise with patients.
So like the lifestyle athlete, the older lifestyle athlete, trying to create that longevity.
Right.
So longevity is important to you.
Longevity is very important, and I always tell people, it's, especially if you're new to exercise, you don't really have a passion for anything. You just have to pick something that you like, and I don't know how somebody could walk in here and not like it. At the most very basic level of somebody who's new to exercise, somehow it works. I don't know how it works to have beginner people and more advanced people all always reaching another level. I think that's very unique, because some of those other classes say at the, CrossFit's pretty hard to modify. At the Y, there's not enough coaching to help all levels, and those people don't try those classes. So
what do you see is a common injury that you wish most people had a couple pieces of advice you could give them, and they would just bypass those injuries if they would have maybe somebody's listening to this now and they're my age and they're 35 and I told you I got a lateral meniscus that was removed, and you're like, removing your meniscus is tough, like that sucks. What would you tell to somebody like me who has this injury, they're thinking about, has an injury? What's like the most common one that you see that is like a compounded thing, that if I start doing this now, if I start doing these things now, then 20 years from now, I won't have to come see you, even though I want to come see you. I don't want to have to come to see you. So how can I start that preventative routine now?
Number one, listen to your body. Soreness is different than pain. Anything that feels like a sharp pain you need to stop what you're doing because you're causing damage. And
describe the difference between that for me real quick. So like, what is an injury? Because I've heard coaches say that my whole life. Like,
Right.
are you injured or are you hurt? You know,
Right.
Like, is it painful or is it injury? What's the difference?
Pain, does it kind of catch you off guard? Pain, not just a soreness like you've been working out, but if sharp pain in general is something that you should listen to.
Something that's like dull and maybe achy is less concerning to you than something that's jolting. And
it's, both, I guess, but if you notice something swells up after you've worked out.
Okay.
In general, if you can start working out and then you don't feel it anymore while you're working out, it feels better, then that's a good thing.
Okay.
But if it's getting worse as you're working out, then you should stop. And then, because you're going to do more damage, so pay attention, get the appropriate rehab, and then resume.
So like sometimes I'll have members and we'll be doing like a shoulder press, and the first couple maybe reps, shoulder's real tight today.
Yeah.
People use the word tight.
Yes.
And then they'll not want to do the shoulder press.
Right.
And you correct me if I'm wrong, or you just actually point me in the right direction, because I'll give you my own perspective. I was a pitcher, so I have this going on all the time, right? So I'm really a long lat on this side, really like torn apart
loose.
labrum, like my labrum's all frayed and torn apart. So my first couple reps are tough. Like you can even see it now. I can go straighter here way faster than I can go straighter on my right side just because of all that impingement in there. Or I guess that's the word for it. But if I do a couple reps and I get loose and do some warm-up reps, I'm good to go. And then I can, I can press 80s over my head pain-free, and I don't have soreness afterwards. So, like, am I injured? Is that soreness? Should I be pushing through it, even if it's like hurtful, maybe painful for a couple reps, and then it goes away? Is that okay?
I think what I would recommend in that situation is to maybe do the first few reps with 25s or 30s just to warm up, and then don't use those heavy weights to get to the point where it doesn't hurt anymore.
You get some working sets going first.
Okay. That's what I would recommend.
So as back to the original question, so anything that what's the most common injury that you see that can be prevented? That's a tough question.
Probably a lot of shoulder. I would say shoulder is common, and of course low back pain injuries are common no matter if you're sedentary at work or you're working out.
I so badly want to talk about shoulder pain right now because that's what I have, but I know that's what not most people have. Most people have lower back pain.
Yes.
Right? Most people have some type of, you have like your hip complex and everything kind of converges at the what would you call this area? Like it's
your
not
glutes
distal
and
because
proximal
hip complex or whatever.
Yeah, your core is basically here.
Yeah, so how do I untangle the web of all the things that are going down back? Like if my lower back is tight, I can't touch my toes. I would assume, and you're an expert in this, so I'm asking you, I'm assuming that if I have a tight back, right, I know kinesiology well, so I know that your plantar flexor is connected to your Achilles tendon, which is connected into your gastrocnemius, which is connected into your lower hamstring, which is then connected up underneath your glute, into your lower back extensors, up through your paraspinals, up through your rhomboids, up through your cervical spine, and into your atlas, or wherever that muscle is that goes up into the atlas. So that posterior compound chain, has your plantar flexor has to do with your cervical spine in a sense, right? And so is that the reason why people get that lower back pain? It's because it's up that chain and they're not elongating the chain over a period of time? Like how much does that have to do with mobility versus strengthening?
Well, I think that nowadays everyone's sitting. It's prolonged sitting. It's not keeping your hamstrings and posterior chain loose. But on the other hand, a lot of the back pain I see are people that are hyper mobile. Things move too much.
Oh, okay.
So you see those people doing a forward fold completely, completely hands flat on the floor. They're in a straddle and they're on the floor. Some of that's just genetic, and you have to be careful. Those people I tell actually to avoid those high extreme ranges of motion and stretching, and do more of the strengthening because you want to strengthen all the muscles around the spine. So it goes both ways, but I think keeping the core strong, and Burn always emphasizes that if your back hurts, it's because your core is weak, and so they're always educating us about that. And I think so strengthening the core, and then also watching form. and the coaches do a good job about.
So then let's fast forward, and I am now 55, and I've never heard this before, and I have like this chronic lower back pain, and I'm in the gym, and I am focused on strength, but I'm on the side of, hey, I'm real tight. Like I can't even bend down and touch my toes tight. What are some things that you would have somebody do who came to you as an athlete, they're 55 years old, a lot of musculature development over the years, but needs that lengthening? What's some things I can do for my lower back, for that hip complex, to help me start to lengthen out and correct that?
I mean, there's lots of very simple exercises, laying on your back and pulling your knees up into your chest. There's a lot of deep core muscles that we don't necessarily, I'm so sorry, don't necessarily.
You're a busy woman, I get it. You got to be on call.
I don't know how to turn this off. You see, I'm old.
You're good.
I can't figure it out, and I can't see it either. So there are some exercises typically taught by a physical therapist that get the deeper core, pelvic tilts, things like that. And then, I mean, it's all about the glutes as well, strengthening the glutes, stretching the hamstrings. I would probably give them some basic.
Do you recommend yoga for that ever?
So,
Ooh, is this a sensitive subject? Okay, let's go. Let's go down this road.
I think that people that, get in so much trouble.
You don't want to get in trouble. You can have your own opinions.
My opinion, because I see so much,
I
so much back pain, and like I said, a lot of people are too flexible, and those people gravitate towards yoga.
Wow.
So people that are good at yoga, they're in the front row and they're doing all these pretzel things. That's largely genetic, being loose like that, and sometimes they can be causing more damage. And then you've got the people like me that can barely touch their toes, trying to do what they're doing. So I think sometimes you push those ranges of motion too much.
Too soon?
Yeah.
I got you.
So I think for some people it's good.
Okay.
Especially if they have a yoga instructor that's involved in watching form and knows injuries.
Just not trying to get them into a pretzel on their first outing.
And again, I see a lot of older weekend warrior type athletes too. So they just have to be careful. They don't want to be, arthritis in your neck and your back, and you don't want to be doing a lot of hyperextension in your neck or your back. So
we were having a conversation prior to getting on camera about just being 50 and older, and how passionate you are about really encouraging that demographic as as you go from in the next stages of your life, and you start to cross over 50 and you experience those things. You can now give that back to people, being a lifelong fitness enthusiast, a sports medicine doctor, obviously years of experience and personal experience, and working with other people. What are a couple pieces of advice to somebody who's just getting started? Not somebody who has been that lifelong fitness enthusiast, but hey, they realize life doesn't last forever.
Right.
And if I'm going to live till I'm 85 or 90 or 95 or 100, then I better get with the program here, and I better start building some muscle, because I can see my muscles deteriorating over time.
Right.
Talk to me about what you would say if I was that person sitting across from you and you're giving me a lecture on the importance of it and encouragement to get it going. What would you say? What are some things you talk about?
For some people, if they're wanting to get into exercise but they have ongoing issues, low back pain for instance, I'll have them actually spend some time with one of our physical therapists that actually work out of the YMCA so that they can do the physical therapy and then show them how to do the exercises before they go into a gym. I think doing a couple personal training sessions is reasonable before getting into a gym, or making sure if they're coming to Burn, go into a smaller class so they have more. Because the last thing you want to do is for them to get hurt at week one, and then they're scared to come back.
Right.
So I think really laying a strong foundation first. Being how long does that, when you say strong foundation, if I am that person, what, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, how long is it going to take me to develop? Probably if someone's not exercised at all before, I would probably give it a good 6 weeks.
Okay. That's a reasonable amount of time, I think, for most people. I was a personal trainer, and that's one of the reasons why I had such a packed schedule is because I connected with the local PTs, and I would be the person they would be the transition into, and I would get people that I would recommend not come to Burn. I would get people with frozen shoulders, frozen necks. I would get people that had double knee replacements. I've seen members at Burn with double knee replacements for sure, and it's not that we can't accommodate. It's that I need you to rehab having these double knee replacements first.
Oh, right.
Right,
Absolutely.
and then get your rehab done with them.
Yes.
And get cleared by a PT, and then you can start coming in and working slow and
Right.
keeping impact. We talked about this off camera too, right? Impact and intensity aren't mutually exclusive. Like you can have intensity without impact, and that's really how I try to start some of those people. But I agree with you, and I think the craft of personal training will be more and more and more specific to injury and specific to sport as things like Burn Boot Camp come online, and you know the 87% of the normal population that don't have one of those two. How do you say, barriers kind of in front of them, can just pop right in, and they're ready to rock and roll. So, all right, so I have two more questions.
Yes.
So let's go back to 50 plus. Okay, I'm 150 pounds deconditioned, and I'm 55, and I'm so far away from mentally being a fitness person that I don't even think I can do it. And I run across this a lot, women, men, saying, I never thought I could do it. I came in, I met somebody such as you, right, who's an encourager, somebody who really empathizes with that group of people, and now, boom, they're like on fire. So what would you say to somebody coming in for the first time, or somebody you met in the streets or in your office, that how would you encourage them, like, to even consider it? What's the narrative that you like to have with?
I actually just had this conversation with, I had an appointment with a physician, basically, who was wanting to get into working out, but was overweight and hadn't been exercising at all. I actually convinced her to go to Burn in Matthews.
Okay.
And she was scared to death because she hadn't worked out in years and years. And I just explained to her that it was number one, is very welcoming. Number two, they're all different levels. Number three, you can modify anything. And it's 45 minutes. Who doesn't have 45 minutes?
Yeah.
So so I convinced her to try it out, and then when I would go back and see her, she just would always rave about it. Now she's into it, and she's one of those people encouraging others to come. Even my now 20-year-old daughter, I've been trying to get her to work out her entire life, and she tried different things. She would always shy away from group exercise, and then she came here, and with Danielle's and Jackie's help, became very comfortable here. And now she ended up joining the Burn Boot Camp in Athens.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I mean, she would not, I don't know how I even got her in the door here, but she would not do
it's like the classic
any group
don't listen to mom.
exercises. And now so she ended up joining she's at UGA, and she joined the Burn down there, but then I think they closed. But anyway, it got her into fitness.
We're reopening there, by the way.
Oh, they are? Oh,
right down the road, yeah.
Oh,
We're
good.
Just relocating. not
Okay,
closing.
awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, okay. Well, so I have one real last question. Thank you for giving that advice to that crowd, because I think it's so important that we realize as we cross over 50 that life's, we still got decades of life to live, you know? Like, we're not, imagine like in the 1870s, 42 was like the life expectancy, the average life expectancy, and now it's 84.
Yeah.
You know, it's like doubled.
Yeah.
And we have so much life left to live, and it just puts a big hole in my heart when I see somebody who does have so much life to live and just says, life's short, I'm getting old anyway, I'm going to zero. It's like, yeah, you're going to zero, that's for sure, but you might want to do it in a way that is, that you're happy and healthy and your body feels as good as it could and things like that.
So important. Exercise is so important. I probably see 80% less patients if they would eat right and they would exercise. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for you to get into, because I can tell how clearly passionate you are about being able to being able to really find what's next in terms of elevating that tendency to be an expert encourager to that crowd.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you were to just, now let's zoom out, not like an age specific thing, if you were to give being an OG member here 5 years, if you were to give advice to Burn Nation as a whole, what would you say? Here's the floor, the mic is yours. Go ahead.
Advice, just keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing, basically. It's just been amazing. I've been a workout critic and snob my whole life. Like I said, this is home. I can't see ever going anywhere else. So I don't know. I don't have any advice. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Good. Dr. Rissmiller, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you. Thank you for letting me kick your butt too. You killed it in camp today. That was super fun.
My butt. See, that's what I love. I love getting my butt kicked.
It was fun, and you definitely practice what you preach. You're an amazing representation, not only for the Burn Boot Camp culture, but for women in general, and just a powerful, extremely encouraging leader that you are. And appreciate you sitting down with us today.
Thank you.
All right. If you guys enjoyed this interview, make sure that you show her some love. All right, in the podcast reviews on Apple. All right, that's what we need you to do. We need you to go there. We need you to use your fingers or your thumbs and type out a review, because that is our oxygen. That's why we keep doing this, so that we can keep getting those reviews. It's one of the only reasons. I'm just kidding. We love it. Go do it right now. Love you guys. 2 claps on 2. 1, 2.